Boss said, if they disagree, they should just leave. I left instead. First time posting here, not totally sure it applies but an earlier post reminded me of this situation I was in a few years back, so thought I'd share. I was a 20-plus employee for an organization with religious ties, in leadership, and the key point person for a lot of things, and pretty good at what I did. There were parts of the organization's religious group's identity that I didn't personally identify with, but felt as though I was making a difference there. Generally enjoyed the work, and knew plenty of other like-minded, read what the org would have called liberal employees there. So I was content. In my state, this organization's religious ties make them exempt from several laws most relevant to this story. They are legally allowed to make hiring decisions based on considering sexuality, sexual identity. While the organization had many constituents who were a part of the LGBTQIA+ community and supported those constituents, they did not openly hire members of the LGBTQIA+ community. For years, I felt like a part of my reason for being there was to be a support to those members of the LGBTQIA+ community who were constituents in what was not always a positive environment for them. I had an employee who was an outstanding performer, really. She was my best employee. If I'm being honest, she was a standard setter in every way, an absolute peak performer. I had no plans to leave, but if I had plans to leave, I would have recommended her as a successor immediately. The work she did was important and widespread. It impacted every constituent in the org in one way or another. She was closeted when hired, and through a series of life events, came out after several years working for me. I was actually surprised at the community response. There were some skeptical folks and people who did the common religious praying for you thing, but many people were supportive of her. We lived in that bubble for a couple of years, and then I took a plan to the supervisor of my direct supervisor. She made the salary, title decisions to promote this employee for her exemplary work. The conversation started off poorly and ended with, "Do we really want to encourage her to stay here?" And she knew the type of environment she was working in when she took the job. If she disagrees now, she should leave. I knew, in that moment, that boss's boss was inadvertently speaking to me. I don't agree, I should leave. I started the job hunt with one main criteria. Found a place that was openly affirming with work that I was eager to learn, and took the job. It's ended up being an incredible fit for me. I love the work, love the people, and surprise members of the LGBTQIA+ community can both work here and be promoted. I also ended up with a 20% pay increase during my first year, which was wild. While my departure certainly didn't ruin anyone's life, everyone was pretty surprised with my departure. I definitely got my share of panicked, "How did you complete this task?" or "What was this procedure?" calls. And they haven't been able to fill the role since. Anyway, cheers to finding a workplace that's in alignment with your soul. Edit. I filled in these deets in the comments but didn't think to add them here. My star employee also got out. She ended up working for my best friend and got the job because of her strong qualifications. But it did feel good to have introduced them. Hoping that your employee was able to find a similarly affirming position elsewhere as well. Smiley face. Sort of similar circumstances here. I chose to work in a versus for the church I grew up in. I felt like I should give back to the organization that raised me in so many ways. After only 8 months, my girlfriend, coworker I had started dating there, told me I had to cut contact with my bi and gay friends and family. She proceeded to tell leadership that I have close friends and family who are LGBTQ. Leadership called me into a meeting with her and told me I had to abide by the word. I cut off the relationship. apologized to my friends for ever dating someone like her, and found a job in my home state that also paid for me to finish my master's degree. Religion, more often than not, is hateful and toxic if you don't abide by their fantasies. Good for you. Fuck 'em. You mean that an employer that is openly hostile to marginalized groups might not be a great place to work and would push some of their other employees away? Weird. How? Prayer and faith. Is that not working for you? You get a gold star. Gosh. Did you bring your employee with you? That's what I need to know. Why were you working there in the first place? You found a better job with better pay in relatively little time. Was the organization you worked for Answers in Genesis? By any chance? Because I smell a donkey. And his name is Ken Ham. Not to offend anyone, but I thought they put a plus at the end of LBGTQ as a period to keep from adding more letters. Now there's an IA? Pretty soon we're just going to have to recite the whole alphabet. Good to hear that you accepted your upper supervisor's inadvertent challenge. Sounds like it paid off. Too. I remember having an unreasonable boss who in effect said, if you don't like it, leave. I dare you. At the time my finances wouldn't allow me to immediately leave, but it did motivate me to get my budget under control, and I did leave a few months later. Never regretted that decision. BTW. That boss made that challenge during an all-hands meeting. After about 6 months, everybody in that meeting had left. I've had other bosses issue the same challenge since then twice. Both times I was able to quit immediately. The last time wasn't even a job, I was a volunteer. That idiot boss somehow thought that losing an unpaid job would affect my finances. In a way he was right. My finances improved since I stopped spending my gas money and some of my pocket money supporting that unpaid job.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.